We're talking gardening this morning, and I'm sorry we had to come back because I like peeling garlic. And look at the size of that clove right there. That is a monster.
Yeah, that's one of the Armenian porcelain garlics, and it's one of the varieties that we're going to be growing downtown.
That is sweet. Now, we're getting cold. We saw some patchy frost yesterday. Typically, we get our first good freeze coming up at the beginning of October, climatically here in Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan. So it's time to start thinking about, well, what can you do with your plants? We want to keep them safe from the frost that's coming. We also, it's a good time to be planting things, and garlic, I understand, is one of those.
Yeah, it's a great time to be planting your fall garlic. So it's just like doing your tulip bulbs and some of your other bulbs. You want to get them into the ground in the fall to get a harvest next summer.
Okay.
So with a lot of these, you can use the frames that we showed earlier. And Greg, if you want to give me a hand here.
Sure.
What you can do with these is you can actually put them on a second tier. So you do another layer of box underneath.
Just to recap, couple 2x8s, two different frames here, but you take an old window you've got, like a seasonal window that you're not using anymore, and you just 2x8s, strap it down on top, and it'll keep your plants alive for a good period into the fall anyhow.
And it'll give you a little bit of insulation. So Greg, if you want to talk about what you're doing right now.
You can open it up. We do that so you can work here to service your plants. It also, to vent when it gets hot during the day. Just got this prop here to keep it open so it doesn't, don't want to whack your head on that. Be safe.
That's sweet. And this is just some cheap hardware. This is 89 cents at Home Depot, and you got some cheap hinges that you took off an old door. You've got this old window frame and just some 2x8s that you cut down. This is actually a 2x4 on the front here for the upper.
Yep, and 2x10s on the side.
That's good stuff. 2x8. Okay.
And what you want to do is you want to make sure that your plant material doesn't touch the window. You could have a double pane window or another piece of glass over the top, but you want to make sure your plant material doesn't touch the window. So when you plant your garlic, it's going to be sprouting earlier in the spring. And when you do that, you need to make sure that you give it an additional height. So you need it about 16 to 18 inches off the ground.
Garlic gets tall.
So garlic gets tall. And what
Why don't you want any leaves touching the window?
Because they'll actually transfer the cold from the outside through the glass onto the plant material.
Okay. Gotcha.
So when I do things like garlic, I'm going to lay down a nice layer of straw, possibly some leaf mold, and go taller in the back. So when I start planting out my cold frame, I do it just like I would in any other garden. And I start with my height in the back, and then I work my way down to the spinaches and lettuces up front.
And this cold frame is sloped, and you want it sloping towards the sun, to the south, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Great stuff. You can also you've got a sheet over there, over top of this for when it gets especially cold, correct? Another layer of insulation,
correct.
Is
and
that
you're going
right?
to get about 5 to 15 degrees depending on what type of fabric you're dealing with.
Sweet.
And the same thing you can use here, started off with roses, like the ones that you have behind us. This is where the whole concept of cold frames, cloches, and enclosing plants with glass came from, or from these beautiful roses. And these roses are part of what we're offering this Wednesday for sale at the Owens Plant Sale from 10 to 5.
That's tomorrow, 10 to 5, Owens Community College. And get your plants there. They are healthy, they're well tended, and they'll be good to go, right?
Definitely.
Great.
You can get some tips from our students. We have knowledgeable students that'll be there helping you with your purchases.
Terrific.
And if you have any questions, you can bring them into them.
Terrific. At Owens, 10 to 5 tomorrow. Greg, thanks a lot. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. You too.
Appreciate it. Matt Roth from Owens Community College. Great tips as always.